Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm taking you to the Master League, where a trainer has fully maxed out Volcanion with one goal in mind, to absolutely destroy Zacian Crown Form. Now these battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community Alpha Club Y2K, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now Volcanion has an incredibly cool typing. Volcanion is a fire and water type Pokemon with the moveset of Incinerate, and then your choice of Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, and Overheat. Now Volcanion, it's definitely more of a pick for fun than for climbing, but oh my goodness does it feast on Zacian. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and we've got a perfect mirror lead in game number 1, Lunala versus Lunala. Now unfortunately, this trainer is running a 14 attack Lunala, which means he'll always lose charge attack priority in the mirror, but he's able to mitigate this by going for a Shadow Ball catch on his Zekrom. Opponents could be bringing in their own Zekrom. If they're counting, they know this is only a crunch, which means they will be able to no shield and fully farm down. They are counting, they no shield, they get a massive farm down, and that's going to prove to be a little bit awkward as back in comes Lunala. Lunala will be able to force a shield with the Shadow Ball, but Zekrom should be able to shield and force back 2 shields as it makes back-to-back crunches. Lunala puts up the first shield as Zekrom goes for the crunch. There's crunch number 2, and unfortunately, this game is going to end with a shieldless Volcanion, which is kind of a tough spot to be in. Opponent brings back in their own Lunala. The Shadow Claw pressure forces the Shadow Ball out of Lunala. Shadow Ball will take the knockout. What do they have in the back? You gotta hope it is not a Palkia. They already showed one dragon in the back. It's not. It's gonna be Zacian. And in comes Volcanion. Volcanion absolutely melting through this Zacian with Incinerate. Zacian farms up to the back-to-back close combats. Close combat number 1 lands. Volcanion survives. That's gonna force a second close combat. And now their defense is at -4. They're going to need to pivot out here. They pivot into Zekrom. That just feeds energy to Lunala. It's going to be a race. Shadow Claw versus the Metal Claw, but with 1 HP remaining, Lunala gets the farm down and takes the win. Hopping into game number 2, picking up a neutral lead, Lunala into Ho-Oh. 2 better responses in the back, so there's a save switch into Zekrom. Zekrom going to be answered with Dialga. Zekrom overfarms a little bit, but not quite enough to bluff an Outrage. And the opponent knows it. Stone Cold no shield on the crunch. Zekrom will be able to survive an Iron Head bait, but if they full send the Roar of Time, which they do, Zekrom is never surviving. This is going to be a bit of a tricky situation. How do you get rid of Dialga? If you bring in Lunala, Dialga should always make 2 Iron Heads, and that is going to inflict quite a lot of damage. Dialga farms up to a potential Roar of Time. We see the shield come out. The opponent actually full sends it. That is a bit of a swing of momentum, because now Lunala will get a full farm down. Opponent doesn't make it to the second charge attack. Back in comes the Ho-Oh, but this is now a very different game. Lunala has 100 stored energy. That's back-to-back Shadow Balls. 1 Shadow Ball not going to be a problem for Ho-Oh, but a second Shadow Ball should be enough to force the shield. And it does. Lunala farms up the switch, the catch, and the sneak onto Volcanion. Is this a double or is this a Sacred Fire? No, it is not. Opponent went for the Brave Bird, but in the back, they have Zacian. Zacian not going to be able to get a lot of fast move pressure here. The Metal Claws are resisted. And that poor Zacian's health bar is getting absolutely melted by these Incinerates. Zacian going to be firing off more than likely a Behemoth Blade, not wanting to debuff its defense. There's the Behemoth Blade. They're going to try for a farm down that they just simply cannot get. Volcanion makes it to the Earth Power, taking the knockout. Switch Clock is available, but Volcanion stays in. The Incinerates are double resisted. Ho-Oh cannot get the farm down. Volcanion makes the Sludge Bomb, knocking out the Ho-Oh. And that is a good game. Hopping into game number 3, and unfortunately, it's a terrible lead for Lunala, leading into Shadow Claw Metagross. Save switch into Zekrom. Zekrom gets outpaced, and that means this can only be a Meteor Mash. If the opponent's throwing Meteor Mash, it's highly likely they have a Dragon Breath user in the back, and there it is. They just wanted to get some chip damage, understanding that Zekrom would never shield a resisted move to make the farm down for their Palkia easier. Palkia is going to end up shielding the first move, as it could have been a potential Outrage. This can only be a Fusion Bolt, so this one we will see no shielded. Zekrom, oh my goodness, can't quite get the farm down, and unfortunately there's no 1-turn fast move available on this team once Zekrom has been KO'd to snipe down the 1 HP Palkia. So Palkia is able to get the Spatial Rend, which will force the shield from Lunala. The opponent reveals their final Pokemon is a Gyarados, and that is probably one of the best Pokemon they could have for a Lunala plus Volcanion core. Well, it would have been one of the best Pokemon they could have, but they just lost 80% of their HP instantly as they no-shielded the Shadow Ball. Lunala is going to be shielding up the Crunch. Gyarados able to make Crunch number 2 on very low HP. This is double super effective. It still doesn't take the knockout, and now Volcanion has to try and take down a Metagross. If Volcanion can make the Earth Power, I believe Lunala has a Shadow Ball loaded. So even though Volcanion probably gets knocked out by the Earthquake, with the Shadow Ball loaded and with how low the Gyarados is, I think this game will end up being a win. I assume Volcanion will get knocked out by the Earthquake, and it does, but the Shadow Ball's loaded on Lunala, and that Gyarados is basically 1 HP. Shadow Ball lands, down goes Metagross, in comes Gyarados, it gets KO'd by 1 Shadow Claw, and that game is going to end in a win. Picking up a very nice lead in the next match, leading Lunala into Zacian. Lunala just so cleanly wins the 2-shield here. As Zacian, I really find myself disliking this matchup because I feel like I can't ever really generate any kind of advantage, because Lunala will always double shield, and when they do, you're just never able to land a charge stack. Even though the Metal Claws do add up quite a bit over time, this matchup just never feels fun as the Zacian. Opponent's going to be pivoting out, they send in Ho-Oh, Lunala banks 100 energy, and this game is just instantly over. What do you do as the opponent? There's 100 Lunala energy. Ho-Oh is completely walled off by the Zekrom. Ho-Oh did get the Sacred Fire debuff, which means they will be able to survive the Fusion Bolt now, so I am anticipating a no-shield from the opponent. They no-shield, they can hold on, but I don't really think Zekrom cares much about switch advantage here. Zekrom will let itself get KO'd. In comes Lunala. Opponent pivots back into the Zacian, but Zacian's about to get shredded by back-to-back Shadow Balls. Shadow Ball is going to land. That will secure the knockout. In the back, they have Kyurem, and Kyurem is a bit of a scary Pokemon to see, as Fusion Bolt will hit for super effective into Volcanion. Moonblast will be shielded. Lunala desperately trying to make it to another move. It is going to get a Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball will not be enough to KO Kyurem. Kyurem is able to hang on. In comes Volcanion. Volcanion able to get the Kyurem deep into the red HP. Volcanion going to be no-shielding. Fusion Bolt lands. Unfortunately, that does set up a farm down for the opponent. Lunala, however, gets the farm down on Kyurem. Back in comes Ho-Oh. That's in 1 Shadow Claw range. And unfortunately, Volcanion kind of had to be a 3rd shield in that game, but the game still ended in a win. Picking up a decent lead in the next match, leading Lunala into Palkia. Considering that Palkia will absolutely eviscerate Volcanion, very nice to catch the Palkia on the lead, and even better to get the shield call right on the Spatial Rend. Lunala overfarms massively, gonna go for the Shadow Ball bait here into the Palkia. Palkia ends up no-shielding, and that should allow Palkia to reach 1 final move. The good news is with the rework to Spatial Rend, this cannot be a Spatial Rend. It can only be an Aqua Tail. Looks like the opponent did go for an undercharge there on that Aqua Tail, so they did not end up hitting all their bubbles as they bring in Reshiram. Reshiram going to be under a lot of pressure right away, as Reshiram takes some pretty massive damage from Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to be shielded, but there's another Shadow Ball loaded. Do they really want to lose over half their Reshiram in a split second? They do. They no shield, but this is honestly perfect. This Lunala is completely running away with this game. Reshiram can't even farm down. The undercharge to get farm on Reshiram really ends up backfiring, as in comes Zekrom. In the back is Ice Fang Zamazenta, and unfortunately, that might be the worst fast move you could ever have against Volcanion. Volcanion is resisting ice from its water typing and its fire typing. It's a double resist, and they're just giving up. They're going to let themselves get farmed down by double resisted Incinerates. Oh no, they're not. Reshiram has Stone Edge. Stone Edge KOs Volcanion, but it's too little too late. That game is still a win. We see a familiar lead in the next match. Opponent gets aggressive, pivoting out of the Zacian into Lunala and sends out Palkia. Palkia firing off energy. The shield comes up from Lunala. Palkia does go for the Aqua Tail, and that's where this matchup can get a little bit out of hand for Lunala, is if Palkia is able to get those Aqua Tail baits, then suddenly the increased cost on Spatial Rend doesn't feel nearly as bad. Like, this could be enough for a Spatial Rend. Spatial Rend would not knock out here, but no, they end up going for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail not going to do a whole lot of damage. The opponent trying for a double bait, getting a little bit greedy, and that ends up backfiring. Unfortunately, Volcanion tries to snipe down with an Incinerate, but Palkia will make it to a 3rd Aqua Tail. Although luckily that's only neutral damage, so it doesn't do much. Opponent now sends out Ice Fang Kyurem, and Ice Fang, not normally the moveset on Kyurem anymore because it is Dragon Breath, and Dragon Breath is just such an incredibly powerful move. These Ice Fangs are just healing Volcanion, oh my goodness, and they are going to have to full send. They cannot go for the Fusion Flare here. Alpha Club no shields, calling that it's just the Fusion Flare, and that is just double resisted damage after double resisted damage. Earth Power lands, in comes Zekrom, and Zekrom will be answered with the Zacian. The Zacian just did not have any energy, and Zacian simply cannot take a knockout with close combat. Close combat just does not have the damage needed. Fusion Bolt is going to land. Zekrom makes it to Fusion Bolt number 2, and that is going to secure it. As this Fusion Bolt is going to land, taking the knockout onto Zacian. All that's left is the Ice Fang Kyurem. The opponent probably forgot to TM the Kyurem from doing raids, and they're going to be immediately doing so after that match, because those Ice Fangs were just absolutely useless. We get the same lead as last game in the next match, Lunala into Zacian once again. With Zacian, you can safely assume there's always a Palkia in the back, and that's not honestly the greatest news for this backline of Zekrom and Volcanion. Shield comes up on the Behemoth Blade. Opponent gonna get outpaced here. They try for a catch on a Palkia, and that's just a pretty large misplay from the opponent. Because they're so far behind this Lunala. Lunala fires off the Shadow Ball bait, able to get the shield. Lunala now makes it to the Moonblast, and they're gonna have to double shield the Palkia or risk losing it. Moonblast lands, Palkia barely survives, and there's gonna be a catch onto Zekrom. Zekrom absorbs the Aqua Tail, gets that farm down as they only had 1 HP remaining. They're gonna send in their own Zekrom, but at this point, this game feels largely over. Even though Zekrom does not have Outrage, the Dragon Breath plus the Crunch will add up quite considerably. So I think Zekrom is very happy just to let this go. Force the opponent to take the knockout. They go for a Fusion Bolt. Fusion Bolt is going to set up a pretty nice farm down for them, but they lose so much HP along the way. In comes Lunala. Lunala is just never going to shield. At this point, it's just a third shield to set up Volcanion. In comes Volcanion, gets the Incinerate down. All that's left is the Zacian. That's getting farmed down as well. And man, for being anti-meta, Volcanion has taken some pretty nice wins. We move to the next game, Lunala into Zygarde. If Zygarde is on Crunch, then this matchup could get quite tricky. Zygarde over-farms to throw an alignment. It's every Zygarde player, man. It's every Zygarde player. I don't understand. Unfortunately, there, Alpha ends up lagging a turn. So he did one in the move. He threw on good timing, but unfortunately, the game did end up lagging. So that's why that move was on alignment. And this time, he's going to anticipate that the Zygarde player throws on alignment and actually CMP tie there, Shadow Ball to their Outrage. Now, he's probably okay to let this go and go for a big farm down. Could potentially even Incinerate down, but no, going to take the farm on Zekrom. Zekrom's going to be answered with the Zacian, and this is not an answer. Zekrom farming up a ton of energy. Opponent goes for the close combat instantly. Zekrom's going to be no shielding. Close combat is going to land. Opponent switches a Lunala. Oh my goodness, this is such a devious bait. Baiting with the Fusion Bolt, getting the shield, and now going for the Crunch. Because since Fusion Bolt was shown, the opponent will think there's not Crunch, but there is. They let it go. That's huge damage. And this is just going to set up such a sick farm down for Volcanion. Volcanion is going to exit this matchup with 60 energy, and these Earth Powers are going to absolutely shred Zacian. Back in comes the Zacian. They still have not top lefted. They're holding out hope, but the moment Earth Power lands, they know there's no path forward. They get fully incinerated down as Volcanion is just shredding Zacian after Zacian. We see a very scary lead in the next match, Lunala into Rhyperior. If there's ever a Pokemon that could just absolutely sweep this team on a moment's notice, it is Rhyperior. This is the non-Shadow Rhyperior, which means it's not nearly as oppressive as the Shadow, but it does mean that it can survive a Shadow Ball significantly better. Opponent's going to be full sending Rock Wrecker. Shield comes up from Lunala. Lunala going to be CMP tying Rhyperior. That's a very nice play. Because if the Rhyperior ends up shielding, I think as Lunala, you probably just let this go, and then can go for a farm down with either Zekrom, or you can get the Incinerate head start. There's the pivot into Zekrom. Zekrom snipes down with Dragon Breath, and out comes Xerneas. Now Xerneas, not the fairy type we're used to seeing. Xerneas is obviously very, very strong in the Master League, but Xerneas, unfortunately, can fight back quite a bit better against Zekrom because it has Moonblast. Moonblast will absolutely delete Zekrom off the map. There's the Moonblast. Down goes Zekrom, and in comes Volcanion. Volcanion Incinerates, only hitting for neutral damage. Volcanion gonna be no shielding. Close combat definitely going to hurt. Close combat is gonna land. It's Zamazenta in the back. And that's not a Zacian, but that is going to be a win. Earth Power shielded up by the Zamazenta. This is a Metal Claw Zamazenta, and unfortunately, whether it's Metal Claw or Ice Fang, either way, there's just no fast move pressure available. They're going to be going for the Behemoth Bash, and that's a pretty nice overfarm by Volcanion. Volcanion, these Incinerates have added up enough to where Earth Power will be able to secure the knockout. Back in comes Xerneas, and there is the Sludge Bomb available at only one Incinerate. Very nice energy management. Volcanion slams the door and takes the win. Hopping to the final match, Lunala into Palkia one final time. For the lack of diversity that the Master League has to offer with so much Zacian and Palkia, I do like the fact that there is more viable anti-meta now. Pokemon like Lunala, Reshiram, and Zekrom all having significantly increased play does make for a lot more of an enjoyable experience than previous seasons, where previous seasons, you either had to play Zacian plus Palkia or you were just at a disadvantage. Where even though Zacian plus Palkia are still very common, I don't think they're required to win, which is a pretty nice update. Zekrom's save switch is going to be answered with Kyurem Black, and Zekrom's going to farm up to 15, bluffing an outrage that it does not have. Dragon Breath just add up so much in this matchup. The Shadow Claw's really not doing a lot into the Zekrom. Zekrom puts up the shield, gets the shield call right as they did go for the Freeze Shock. And suddenly, this matchup looks really nice for the Zekrom. Zekrom's Crunch is going to force the final shield, and this could even set up an incredible farm down for Volcanion. Volcanion can probably get a 2 Incinerate head start, as Freeze Shock will take the KO. In comes Volcanion, opponent blind switches a Zacian, and this game is over. Volcanion just going to go straight for the Earth Power. The Incinerate damage has done enough to where Earth Power is just cleanly going to take the KO. Back in comes Kyurem. Kyurem hoping for a charge attack, but it's not going to have the chance. The quick switch into Lunala, sniping down with the Shadow Ball. Kyurem gets KO'd. All that's left is the 1 HP Palkia that gets Shadow Claw down, and that is a good game. Man, these were some high-octane, very fun battles, so many thanks to Alpha Club for submitting them. There are so many of these mythical Pokemon that you have to use rare XLs to power up that look to be so much fun in the Master League. And obviously, I don't have all the rare XLs to power them all up, so I do really appreciate people taking the time to build these Pokemon, recording footage, and sending them in, so that way we can see what these Pokemon can do with the Master League. As for Volcanion, I would definitely lean towards more of a Pokemon for fun than for climbing. I do think that Volcanion would really benefit at some point in the future from getting a charge attack that is cheaper than 50 energy. Even something that's 40 energy, so it's able to spam out a charge attack every 10 turns, could kind of help it take that next step from kind of a fun anti-meta core breaker that just completely destroys Zacian into more of a meta threat. Just because currently, its pacing is really not the greatest. Its cheapest move is a non-same type attack bonus Sludge Bomb, which it does get 3-2 pacing on, which isn't the worst, but for Earth Power, having to go 3-3 to the first, it really ends up getting outpaced by a lot. Now, Alpha was able to play very well to help kind of mitigate some of those pacing weaknesses, including getting some really nice catch and sneaks of entire free Incinerates to set himself up nicely. But for now, Volcanion, it's a really fun anti-meta Pokemon. It definitely has its limitations due to pacing and sometimes due to lack of coverage, but it's a Pokemon that I do see quite a bit of potential in for potential future Master League metas. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching today's video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you have not. And an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is so appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.